Alright, hey there guys, Adrian here, aka JediBro95, coming at you guys with an NBA discussion video. However, this one is going to be a little bit different. This is going to be me reacting to an NBA take. So I guess in a way this is an NBA discussion reaction video. Long story short, because I've done this about a few times and I want to just get to this video because I have not watched it in full yet. I maybe watched 30 seconds and then decided to say, you know what, let me react to this. This video is someone by the name of Mike the NBA guy, who I will put both this video and Rusty Bucket's video about what Steph Curry having my apologies, Steph Curry having nothing to prove. He made that video about a month or so ago, and I'll put this video in the link and both of them in the description below. But with that, I just want to get into this real quick because, like I said, I've tried recording this like 3 times now.
Yo, what is up, NBA fans? It's your boy Mike here. Today is going to be a little bit of a different kind of video than what I...
Also, just as a side note, this video might take about 20 some odd minutes, so prepare for a little bit of a longer video.
I usually do. I am going to be doing this video as a response to a recent YouTube video by this channel. You've probably never heard of him. He's called Rusty Buckets, a little tiny NBA YouTube channel. And I don't really know why anyone listens to this guy anyway. I mean, he just sits on his butt all day, and he makes YouTube videos about basketball, and he gives his basketball opinions. Like, get a life, man. Am I...
I'm just gonna let that sit there for a couple of seconds. Alright, moving on.
Right? Y'all know what I'm saying. Anyway, completely unironic jokes aside, alright? Rusty made a video titled, Steph Curry Has Nothing Left to Prove. And he basically says that anyone who disagrees with this is stupid. Personally, I disagree with this, and I also don't like being called stupid. So
I mean, okay, yeah, nobody likes to be called stupid, but that's just the way he is. Like, that, you know, he's just one of those people that just, he's like myself, who just, you know, he says things, and then when you, like, I don't know, you get what I'm meaning.
I'm going to be doing sort of a clap back at Rusty Buckets today.
I like
Except
the clap.
Not really. Really all I'm going to do is sit there and look at his video, and I'm going to go over his points, say what I agree with, what I disagree with, and tell you my take on this and why I do still believe Steph Curry does not actually have absolutely nothing left to prove in his career. As great as he is, Steph Curry still does have something to prove. So let's get right into that. Now, to get into this video, the whole first half of it is mostly about Steph Curry's days before he won a title, or specifically before Kevin Durant joined the Warriors, because the narrative going around right now that he was responding to is this idea that if Steph Curry isn't able to make the playoffs in the West this year, now that he doesn't have all this help, that's going to hurt his legacy.
Just as a quick side note, I don't understand, I've said this in a couple of videos, don't understand why people hold low carry jobs in such high esteem. Don't get me wrong, it is impressive, but I don't get why people try to say that, you know, a player A is better than player B because they were able to carry less to a playoff appearance, or they were able to get knocked out in the first round. I don't understand why that is such a big deal in the NBA community. That needs to, that's one of the takes I think I said back in January, that it just flat out needs to just die, because that is a dumb take.
And if that were the specific question that we were talking about, if that was the whole topic of the video, I gotta say I would agree with Rusty Buckets 100%. Alright, Steph Curry missing the playoffs this year does not prove shit. Alright?
Also, at the time of recording this video, the Warriors are the 5th seed in the Western Conference, maybe the 6th at this moment. And when a lot of people thought they weren't even going to make the playoffs, so how's that going for you guys?
It would not prove anything, because the man, as Rusty goes on to say, alright, not gonna lie, he covers it pretty well, alright? 2013, 2014, Steph Curry is playing as the only All-Star on his team. He leads his teams to the playoffs. In 2013, he actually manages to go 6 games in the second round with the San Antonio Spurs.
Nobody ever talks about that when it comes to Steph Curry carry jobs. Nobody ever talks about the fact that Steph Curry beat a 57-win team in the first round with David Lee playing 1 game of that series, and then he goes on to these conference semis and matches up against the San Antonio Spurs, who won 60 games that year, I believe, like 60, 62 games, give or take. They were the tops in the Western Conference. And he pushed him to 6 games, and he was on a bum ankle. But nobody ever talks about that when it comes to Steph carrying a team. It's chronic. It's crazy.
And even though Klay Thompson and David West were on the team, and they were by no means scrubs, they were not all-star level players, and even in the Eastern Conference, I don't think Klay Thompson would have been an all-star at that point in his career. He just wasn't quite there yet.
That's true.
So it is literally a false statement to say that Steph Curry needs to prove he can carry a team with no other all-stars to the playoffs. He's literally done it before, multiple times, okay? Been there, done that. Steph Curry, everyone knows what a beast he is. Alright, we know that he is capable of doing that. And not only that, he did that under Mark Jackson, not under Steve Kerr. And I think most people would strongly agree that Steve Kerr is a better coach. So, we know
Steve Kerr is obviously a better coach, but Mark Jackson doesn't get enough credit for molding the Warriors into what they are today. Don't get me wrong, like, yeah, Steve Kerr obviously came in and put them over the top, but Mark Jackson definitely had some influence on the success of the Golden State Warriors before Kerr came along, and nobody ever talks about that.
what Steph Curry's capable of, okay? I expect Steph Curry to carry his team to the playoffs this year, but if he doesn't, due to whatever reasons, maybe he's just not as good as he once was coming back from injury, although in the bubble he's looked pretty damn legit. I'm sorry, not the bubble. In the preseason, he has looked pretty dang legit. You know, maybe the help just really isn't there. Maybe it's worse than we thought and he can't get it done. But even if Steph Curry can't get it done this year and can't get to the playoffs, or gets to the playoffs and he loses in the first round badly or something, we know how good Steph Curry is. He's made it to the second round with no All-Star help before. This isn't like something he needs to prove or whatever, okay? So that is completely legit. Now, something else Rusty Buckets begins to go over in his video is Steph Curry's time with the Warriors. And this is a criticism, I'm sorry, not with the Warriors, Steph Curry's time with Kevin Durant on the Warriors, I should say, because, you know, he's been on the Warriors his whole career. This is something that a lot of people criticize Steph Curry for, and there's parts to it that are legit and parts to it that aren't, okay? First of all, Rusty says that Curry was robbed in 2015 of the Finals MVP. I disagree with this, alright?
I think he was robbed of the 2015 Finals MVP. Just because Steph played bad in Game 2. He was horrendous in Game 2. Game 3, he started off slow, but he bounced back. And then Game 4 and 5 and 6, he literally just went back to what the MVP he was. And unfortunately, because of those 1.5 games, he ended up losing the Finals MVP. So I do think I think he was robbed of Finals MVP in 2015, to be completely honest with you. Even without looking at the numbers, Andre Iguodala, who won Finals MVP, was like not on par with Curry's production, and that you can just see from the eye test alone, let alone the numbers.
I have a video of this already on my channel. Curry was not robbed. Now, he may have deserved the Finals MVP.
May have deserved as an understatement.
Barely over Iggy, but to say he was robbed, that is just a blatant over-exaggeration of what happened, alright? Iguodala, he did earn that Finals MVP. There is definitely a strong case that Curry should have had it more, but I think robbed is robbed. You know, there's a difference between being robbed and just deserving something slightly more than the other person.
If we're talking about, if you're gonna say that Curry wasn't robbed of Finals MVP, okay, fine. But again, like I said, Iguodala was nowhere close to as impactful as Steph Curry was, especially offensively. Defensively, it was a little bit different because of the fact that Iguodala is just a better defensive player than Curry ever has been. But outside of that, you know, what else can I really say that I haven't said already about Curry in the Finals MVP in 2015?
Curry was not robbed, okay? He didn't play as well as many people think he probably should have in that series.
Like I said, he literally had 1.5 to 2 bad games. Maybe not even 2.
LeBron James almost certainly would have won with Kyrie and Kevin Love there.
No, he would not have. He definitely would not have won the Finals MVP without Kyrie and Kevin Love if they were to vote for LeBron. I don't know they why that's even a topic. No, he should not have been in the conversation. He lost. You don't get rewarded for being a loser on a on an NBA Finals team unless your name is Jerry West.
Curry was not robbed. Then, in 2017 and 2018, I believe Steph Curry was the best player on those Warriors teams. However, he was not the best player in those finals. All right, Kevin Durant stepped his game up in the finals. He played absolutely out of his gosh dang mind. All right, 2017, there's no contest. Kevin Durant had one of the greatest finals performances of all time.
Mm-hmm.
In 2018, Kevin Durant did slightly outplay Steph Curry purely because Steph Curry played bad in one of the 4 games. And
so I love how you bring up the fact that that Durant slightly outplayed Curry because he played bad in one of the 4 games. But even like I was saying with 2015, Curry played bad in like 1.5 games, and yet he still was miles more impactful than Andre Iguodala offensively. Defensively, yes, obviously Iguodala was there, but I meant to say this before. It's kind of easy to slow down LeBron or the best player on the other opposing team when his second best player is Timothy Mozgov and Matthew Dellavedova. And again, I'm not trying to take away from those players, but like, I like, damn.
a lot of people will say, well, Steph Curry was better than Kevin Durant in the other 3 games. Look, he was barely better than Kevin Durant in the other 3 games, okay? And in the one game he underperformed, Kevin Durant played amazing. So it evens out. It's kind of like the clowns who argue that Anthony Davis deserved Finals MVP over LeBron this year because he was great in like 2 of the games, and then LeBron was just consistently very, very good throughout. Even though Anthony Davis choked in Game 3, and that's the reason the Heat won that game. Jimmy Butler, all the credit in the world to him, but realistically, the Heat don't win Game 3 if Anthony Davis doesn't just choke on Jimmy's dick. Alright, he played like garbage in that game, and that's why LeBron 100% deserved the Finals MVP, because he was consistently excellent throughout the whole series. Anthony Davis was a tiny bit better in some games, and a lot worse in other games. Same thing with Steph Curry and Kevin Durant in 2018, alright? Steph Curry has never earned a Finals MVP. And this is where my argument comes in. Alright, this and his titles. And everyone, I can already hear you. I can already feel the thoughts of anger coming at my soul because I'm daring to bring up the Steph Curry Finals MVP argument that every Steph Curry fan hates. Alright, let me clarify this. I doubt it's going to do anything to soothe your tempers, but I just want to get this out of the way. I like Steph Curry a lot. He seems like a great dude. I love watching him as a player. He revolutionized the league, even if people sometimes give him a tiny bit too much credit for it. He did absolutely revolutionize the way three-pointers are, okay?
He did revolutionize it, but let's not act like all of a sudden in 2017 or 2016 after he went crazy that the league just immediately became a 3-point happy league. No, the league was starting to transition into that way before, even with Miami's big 3, even San Antonio with Tim Duncan in the mid 2000s, they were putting him at center and putting Robert Horry in at the 4 and running small ball that way. Or even with other teams like, say, pardon me, the even like the what's the team I'm looking for here? Oh yeah, the 2008 Celtics. Even though Kevin Garnett wasn't the 3-point shooter, he still was able to step out and shoot a jump shot, which did free up the lane and created more driving opportunities for guys like Paul Pierce, Rajon Rondo, and Ray Allen. So the league was always heading to this transition. It's just a matter of when Steph did what he did in 2016. That's when the league went boom when it came to 3-point shots.
He is, in my opinion, the second best point guard of all time.
Mm-hmm.
He is the greatest shooter of all time. He is a top 15 player of all time. He is still the best point guard in the league today, and still a top 5 player in the league today, assuming he comes back 100% healthy this season. I'm a huge fan of Steph Curry. He's a great player. However, there is an asterisk on all 3 of his titles specifically associated with him, And this is why I do not believe Steph Curry has quote-unquote nothing left to prove. There are very few players throughout NBA history who I would personally say have nothing left to prove. LeBron is one, Michael Jordan is one, I'd say Kobe's up there, alright? That's about it. There's a couple others you can throw in. Tim Duncan, maybe, for example, Bill Russell. There's a couple players up there at the very tippy top who really ended their careers, and you could say that player had nothing left to prove. Steph Curry is not one of the guys who I would give that to, in my personal opinion, because of his titles. And this is going to annoy Curry fans, but it's just how I feel. As incredible as Curry is, and the fact that a title is a title, alright, no matter what.
So why are you sitting there saying that Curry himself specifically has asterisks on his titles, but then turn around and say a title is a title? That doesn't make any sense. Because if we're going to put asterisks on Steph Curry's titles, why are we not doing the same? Why didn't we not do the same thing or do the same thing with Kobe Bryant when his first 3 titles? Because a lot of people just, well, they don't forget, but a lot of people just, when they don't talk about Kobe, the reason why I don't think he's as great, like the reason why I don't think he's greater than Tim Duncan is because Kobe Bryant had Shaquille O'Neal, whereas Tim Duncan, and he was Finals MVP for those first 3 championships. Now again, that might annoy some Kobe fans, and rightfully so. But if you're, but the point I'm trying to make is, if you're going to say that there's an asterisk next to his specific titles because he did not win a Finals MVP, then we should do the same thing for literally every other person who has not won a Finals MVP when they won championships. Tim Duncan, Kobe Bryant, Larry Bird was a 2-time Finals MVP recipient. Magic Johnson did not win all Finals MVP. Literally, the only people that have won Finals MVP every single time they've been to the Finals and won it are LeBron James and Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan. That is it. So if we're going to put asterisks on Curry's championships because he didn't win Finals MVPs, why aren't we going to do the same for guys like Kobe Bryant? Especially when you sat there and said Kobe Bryant has nothing left to prove. So why does Kobe have nothing left to prove, but Curry does?
I almost said no matter how small, like I'm freaking Horton Hears a Who. A title is a title, alright? No matter the context, if you want a title, it's a title. But all titles are not created equal. There's a reason we hold Dirk's 2011 title and Hakeem's titles up so high and some other titles so low. The 2 titles that Steph Curry won with Kevin Durant are very, very low. Like some of the least impressive titles we have seen since the Bill Russell titles in the 60s, honestly.
Okay, aside from the Bill Russell disrespect aside, okay, if we're going to do that, then LeBron's championships don't mean nothing when he was in Miami. LeBron's titles are very low on his when it comes to all-time great titles. Okay? Same with Larry Bird's because he was on a stacked team. Same with Magic Johnson because he was on a stacked team. Same with Kareem. Just because you're on a stacked team does not diminish the championships. And again, why are you saying a title is a title if you're going to then turn around and put value on them? Because you're saying a championship is a championship, but you're saying not all titles are created equal. You cannot, in my opinion, you can't do that. You have to pick our title, a ring is a ring, or titles have value. Personally, I think titles have value. There's, like he did, I agree. There's a reason we hold Dirk's 2011 up as one of the greatest championships ever. The same way we do with LeBron's 2016, Hakeem's 1994 and 1995 championships. Those are the only ones I can really truly think of right now, because he mentioned them. But yeah, like you can't sit there and say titles are titles and then turn around and be like, oh well, not all titles are created equal.
They really just don't compare to most other modern NBA titles. They're pretty easily the 2 weakest titles of the 2010s, which is really saying something because LeBron has a couple sus ones in there too. Another super weak one, right after those 2 Warriors titles, is the 2015 title which Steph Curry won. Now, Steph Curry made it to the finals with a team that really wasn't that great. Okay, we look at it now and we're like, this team, you know, it was still great like 2016. those teams weren't as great as people give them credit for. Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, very, very good players. They had a lot of solid role players, but Curry is the real reason those teams were great.
That
Okay,
is
you
true.
take Curry off those teams, they're easy first-round exits.
That is
Not
very
even
true.
a contest if they make the playoffs. Curry is huge. However, he gets to the finals in 2015. No Kyrie Irving for most of the series. No Kevin Love for the entire series. And what does Steph Curry do? He averages like 23 points on efficiency that's not as good as we would expect from him.
So, if you're claiming that Steph did not deserve the Finals MVP in 2015 or wasn't robbed, when I literally mentioned about maybe 10 minutes ago that Iguodala was a 16-point scorer, why is Steph's 23 points per game a problem if you're just going to use points? Not only that, Curry, if you're going to talk about efficiency, Curry was putting up like good. He was like, if I remember correctly, he was like 48% from the field, 39 to 40% from behind the arc, and like 89% from the free throw line in that series. And yes, it went to 6 games, but also I don't think I ever mentioned this in my NBA takes that need to die. I'll talk about this now. Can we please stop penalizing players for having to beat injured teams? Okay, we saw it with Braun this year, Curry's championship run in 2015. I'm trying to think of somebody else here, or any of Curry's championship runs, because a lot of the Warriors run was benefited by injuries. Was benefited by injuries, but at the same time, though, like, you can't control injuries. Why are we punishing players for X factors that are outside of their control? That doesn't make any sense. It's like punishing Bill Russell for playing in the 60s. It's not his fault that he was born in 1939 and 1940 something. I can't remember when he turned 87 a couple of days ago. So if I did the math, I probably could figure out how old he is. I think what year he was born. But we cannot punish players for factors out of their control. We can't do that. That's not fair to the player in question. Because if we're really going to be honest, if we're going to put an asterisk on Steph Curry's championships because he benefited from injuries, now these title runs have nothing to do with injuries, then why don't we put an asterisk on Kobe's 2002 when, in my opinion, they shouldn't even have been in the finals. They should have lost Game 6 and gone home that summer without a three-peat. But, the NBA did what they did, and the Lakers ended up in the finals. But they should not have been, and that's the point I'm trying to make. But I don't punish Kobe for that. I say at the end of the day, you know what? They won Game 6. Guess what? They're still a Game 7. And they won Game 7 in overtime. And they would go on to beat the Nets in a sweep in the finals. But do I hold Kobe a problem? Do I punish Kobe for that? No. At the end of the day, he still managed to get it done. Just like what Steph did. Doesn't matter if they benefited from injuries. He still had to go out and compete and get it done. So why are we blaming Steph for factors out of his control?
That's not great, okay? LeBron James could have won that series if Iguodala didn't come in and play great defense on him. And people look at LeBron's numbers and they're like, oh, wow, Iggy played such great defense. He averaged 36 points. You got to look at these specific coverage things and the game-to-game basis, okay? Iggy had a very clear impact on LeBron, and that is why he earned that Finals MVP. You can say that it went to Curry. I would say Curry was a tiny bit more deserving, but overall he was...
So why are you saying that Curry was more deserving, but then claiming that he wasn't robbed? Or saying that... Okay, hang on, no. Better yet, you're claiming that Curry was more deserving, but you also said that Curry deserved that Andre deserved that Finals MVP. You're literally contradicting yourself.
Not robbed, and there's nothing wrong with Iggy having that Finals MVP. 2017, 2018, Curry was outplayed by Kevin Durant. He was the better player in the regular season, but when it came to the finals...
But you said also that Steph Curry was the best player on the Warriors in 2017 and 2018. So now why are you backtracking and saying that Kevin Durant was the better player?
Kevin Durant was better than him. And yes, Steph Curry... Why the frick can't I say his name? Steph Curry.
There you go.
Don't know why I just randomly got a lisp there. Steph Curry did not earn Finals MVP either of those years, and he's an incredibly unselfish player. And you can say that, that's why he let Kevin Durant do more of the scoring load and he let Kevin Durant have those stats. It's because he's so unselfish and he just wants to win. But at the end of the day, Steph Curry has won 3 of the titles with the biggest asterisks attached to them in NBA history, and in all 3 of those titles, he has not won Finals MVP. Then in 2016, there's also an argument that Steph Curry choked in 2016.
I would argue that he did choke and he did underperform. But again, I've said my piece on the asterisk part.
He did not play as well as he should have, especially in Game 7, and he didn't win that title. So, with the exception of 2019...
Also, if we're going to put an asterisk, I just thought about this. If we're putting asterisks on titles because of external factors out of their control, why does nobody do it for 2016? Because a lot of people tend to forget, outside of the fact that Draymond was suspended for Game 5, Bogut went down and was out for the rest of that series. And Bogut was so important in their championship run on that team with his rim protection and his rebounding presence. But nobody puts an asterisk on 2016 because of the fact that Andrew Bogut went out. So why are we doing it for Steph Curry when it comes to 2015?
Every time Steph Curry makes the finals, he seems to either underperform a little bit or he just isn't good enough to win the finals MVP.
The only time I could really consider him underperforming, well, he's had a couple of underperformances. 2016, he definitely underperformed, and he definitely did not play very well. In 2019, although when you really stop to look at the roster, yeah, he's going to have the numbers he did because he didn't have the help around him. Same with what we do with LeBron in 2015 when we say he had the numbers he did because he didn't have the talent around him.
He's never been the best player on the floor in his finals, is what I'm saying. And that's a little unfair when you're playing against KD and LeBron, but that's just how it is.
I would argue in years like 2018, he was the better player. And a lot of people tend to forget this. They wouldn't have been in the finals if it wasn't for Curry, because Kevin Durant was trash in the Houston series. He was awful. Like, just straight up awful. And people forget that Curry was the reason they got to that finals appearance, especially in Game 6 and Game 7. So, where are we going with that?
Okay? Steph Curry has not officially proven, even though we know he can do it. I know that Steph Curry has the talent, especially back in 2016, has the talent to lead a team to the title as their best player. But he has never officially, for the record books, proven that he can do that. He's never gone and won a Finals MVP, and he's never won a title that people can really look at and truly respect like they can some of the greatest titles in NBA history. All of his titles are a little sus, and it's because of that that I believe Steph...
Then if Curry's titles are a little sus, then every single one of LeBron's championships are sus. Because if we're really looking at it, and I hate to pull this argument because I think it's dumb, but hey, we're splitting hairs here. 2012, Baby Thunder. 2013, Saved by Ray Allen. 2016, injured Andrew Bogut and Draymond Green suspension. 2020, bubble circumstances. Again, I don't like to pull this argument out, but if we're gonna fucking do this, then I'm gonna fucking do it.
Curry does still have more left to prove. Now, Steph Curry at this point can't really do anything to make his legacy worse. He's a top 15 player and the second best point guard in NBA history, no matter what at this point, okay? Steph Curry could retire tomorrow, and that would still be true. He would still be the second greatest point guard ever.
I'm sorry I keep pausing this, but part of what's nothing left to prove is the fact that your legacy is still cemented, or isn't cemented. By saying that Curry still has things to prove, and you're saying at the end of the day he's going to be a top 15 player, he still, no matter what, is a top 15 player and is the second greatest point guard of all time, to me, that is nothing left to prove. That is literally nothing left to prove whatsoever. Because at worst, you're saying that he's worse than these players. He's a top 15 player. Well, players that have something left to prove, in my opinion, fall down in the rankings if they don't meet the expectations or they don't perform to their standards. But you're saying he has nothing left to prove, so then it's like, but you're saying that he's going to be top 15 at minimum and second greatest point guard in NBA history, that means he has nothing left to prove.
He would still be a top 15 player ever, at least for right now. However, he could do more. Steph Curry can continue to improve. He can continue to make his legacy better. And the main way to do that would be by winning another title with this Warriors team. Maybe not this year's specific team, although, like, obviously that would help, but I don't expect him to do that. Another title would be really big for Steph Curry is what I'm saying. He can definitely improve. He can definitely prove himself more. And so I think it's just a little bit ignorant and just a little bit biased on Rusty Bucket's part to say that Steph Curry has absolutely nothing left to prove and to call people who disagree with that stupid. So that's all I had to say on this topic, guys. I hope you all enjoyed this video.
One last thing before I end this video. If anything, instead of you should have made this video was, instead of saying that he still has things to prove, this video was more or less how Curry can make his legacy better, in my opinion. Because, well, yes, Curry's 3 championships, even though they have not been Finals MVPs, and I argue it's a damn travesty that he didn't win 2015. The fact is like, he's still, in your own words, at minimum, he's a top 15 player ever, and at minimum, he's the second greatest point guard ever. But if you still have things to prove, that means you're still going up and down in rankings. But if you're telling us that he has nothing left to prove, that he has still things to prove, but he's top 15 at worst, then he has nothing left to prove. It's all about just how high can he make his legacy, how much better can he make his legacy, and how much better can he become as a player. That's what you really should have done with this video. And if Mike the NBA guy, if you are watching this video, first of all, hi, please subscribe. Second of all, please don't take this as an insult, okay? I may have gotten a little bit aggressive. That's just the way I am. I don't know why. I can't control it some days. But instead of making this what Curry has nothing left to prove, because again, you're literally admitting inadvertently that he does have nothing left to prove. What you should have done was make this a video about how Curry can make his legacy better and how Rusty Buckets is sort of right and he's sort of wrong. Now, personally, I did watch the Rusty Buckets video. I agree. Curry has nothing left to prove. Because if I remember correctly, even in that video himself, he said that at minimum, Curry's a top 15 player or a top point guard of all time, and he's like a top 20 player ever at minimum. So again, this shouldn't be necessarily still has things to prove. It is how can he make himself better. But anyways, guys, that is going to be the end of this video. I hope you guys didn't get distracted too much by the neon cat on the YouTube video. If you guys did enjoy this video, please be sure to hit the like button. Comment your thoughts, because I want to hear this conversation. Subscribe if you are new. And once again, Mike, the NBA guy, if you are watching this, please don't take anything I say personally. Like I said, I can be just extra aggressive for no reason whatsoever. So just take it more as like a calm, constructive criticism as best as I could do. But that's going to be the end of this video, guys. I'm out. Peace.